Coming up on Sports Spotlight with Steve Nissom, Super Bowl champ Fred Robbins goes deep on his remarkable NFL career, and a rising pro football star from Pensacola lands on Alumni Avenue. Plus, the inspiring journey of Niceville High product and UWF golf star Alia Scotka, and the layers of motivation that drove Pensacola swimmer Ian Malone to become a record-breaking state champion. Welcome to Sports Spotlight. I'm Steve Nissom. We have a Super Bowl champ in the house. Pensacola's Fred Robbins gives us insight on his impressive NFL career and how he's now molding future stars. Kalia Davis, a Pensacola product currently shining in the NFL, visits Alumni Avenue, and we feature the stunning accomplishments of local swimming sensation Ian Malone. But we start with Alia Scotka, who's risen to become one of the nation's best college golfers at UWF. The Niceville High grad is a model of determination, making the most of family sacrifice with uncommon poise and mental toughness. As a youngster growing up in Okaloosa County, Alia Scotka got her first taste of golf as a 6-year-old, tagging along with her dad.
I'm on the range hitting away, and a middle school golf coach comes up and he's like, hey, your daughter has a really good swing. Have you heard of this First Tee program?
She signed up for the First Tee program at Tanglewood Golf Course in Milton and got hooked. Then her dad took her to watch a few LPGA tournaments in Destin and Mobile, and seeing the pros really inspired her young mind.
When I was 9 or 10 years old, I'm like, you're telling me I can play a sport that's really fun for my life and a career? Yeah, I want to be able to play.
With a love of the sports and burgeoning talent, Alia started getting noticed.
I remember working a First Tee tournament. There was this young girl, 10 years old, had the brightest smile and just the very soft voice, and she was winning tournaments 10 years old.
Alia's parents are both immigrants, Dad Mark from the Czech Republic and Mom Bella from the Philippines. The challenge of trying to navigate life in America didn't stop them from going all in to support her new passion.
My parents were working either 2 or 3 jobs, one on the side or whatnot, and they put aside money to encourage me to have a better career in life. They really saw a passion in the sport that I had, and they saw potential. They're willing to sacrifice that for me.
As a 13-year-old, Alia won a prestigious event in Orlando sponsored by LPGA player Amelia Lewis. Part of the prize was getting to travel to a pro tournament in New Jersey and go inside the ropes with Lewis.
Got to ask her so many questions about how it is on tour and what do I have to do to get there. That really inspired me to be okay, I can get to this point and my game can really get there.
She continued to shine after joining the elite program at Niceville High School, an environment that just accelerated her progress.
Niceville really brought in a lot of competitive and talented young ladies, and us having our games so close to each other, it really motivated us to want to be at the top.
Alia eventually became team captain and was a key part of Niceville finishing state runner-up twice. When it came time to pursue college options, she turned to Kristen Dorsey, a Gulf Breeze grad and head coach at the University of West Florida.
She asked me how to get recruited by other schools. and I think that was just such a cool dynamic, she knew that there was a coach in the area, but from Pensacola, and that she trusted that I wanted to help her. So I actually helped her get recruited by other schools. And I think in that recruiting process, she realized that, maybe going to school at UWF is what she actually wanted.
Our coach is absolutely amazing. She really wanted us to make sure it was the best choice that we wanted to make for ourselves, either that be UWF or somewhere else. And honestly, for me, UWF was just screaming for me.
Alia earned Conference Freshman of the Year honors, and her game went next level late in her sophomore season when she won the conference tournament.
She protects her game, and she's very confident with what she knows and what she's bringing to that table. And that's something you can't teach.
Alia is reaching new heights as a senior, finishing the regular season ranked top 30 in the nation. She continues to display a remarkable ability to remain positive through the inevitable challenges and doubts that all golfers face.
I've trained so hard to not think that way over the years that it's harder for them to creep in. but those downs don't stick for long.
This year, I've seen her have a terrible ball striking day, this is what the pros do. They have bad ball striking days and good ball striking days, and she'll still shoot under par. And that's where she's at right now. It's really cool to have that confidence in your player, knowing that she has developed over 4 years to get to that point.
Alia is just as impressive and accomplished away from the course. She's president of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee for UWF and the conference, as well as being on the board at the national NCAA level.
When you get to sitting around a table of like 26, 27 other athletes who are representing like thousands of other college athletes, it's pretty enriching. They trust you. You can get their voice heard.
For her to still take on all of that, as well as be there for her teammates, as well as shooting low numbers, I mean, the girls really see that dedication that she has. As a leader, I mean, she's just done a phenomenal job. She's absolutely shaped this program.
A skilled graphic artist, she already has job opportunities lined up after graduation. But that's plan B, because Alia will be pursuing professional golf.
Her golf game is there. She's got a great impact position. She's got great stamina on the golf course, and her mental game is something I wish I had when I was trying to play. It's really grueling out there, and it's really tough at times, and she has the confidence to try that.
Her drive and determination in everything are pretty awe-inspiring, and there is no question where the motivation comes from.
My parents, they're such hard workers. First coming into the country as immigrants and then working hard towards a citizenship just to even be here. Having that instilled in the household, I think that's what really established that motivational player in me, that drive and wanting to be successful in life, and having that push from them and wanting to, do better, be better.
The swimming legacy in Pensacola is mighty impressive, and Ian Malone is proving a worthy addition. Breaking decades-long records and winning an especially impressive state title is likely just a taste of what's to come for this young phenom. Ian Malone first joined the Greater Pensacola Aquatic Club when he was around 5, and his potential in the sport was apparent pretty quickly.
He could just move really smoothly and effortlessly through the water. So, even young, it was kind of like, he had a touch that didn't come for everybody.
But when he was around 10, Ian wasn't progressing as fast as he wanted, and Coach Greg Johnson helped him realize just his talent wasn't enough.
I was like, hey, what would it take for me to get to, a higher group? And he just told me that I wasn't, all that, and I had to actually do some work. And that really struck me, and, I went to put my nose to the grindstone and got to work with it. With
a newfound determination, elite results started to follow as he reached the more seriously competitive 11 and 12-year-old level.
11-12, he was winning all of his events at Southeastern Champs, and he won Most Outstanding at 14 too. So he's always been a contender. He's always been a champion.
Along with the motivation from Coach Johnson, the support and expectations at home are a difference maker. And that includes many impactful talks from his dad, Justin, about making the most of his talent.
As much as it sounds like I want it in the moment, but when I go back and think about it before I go to bed and practice the next morning, I do think about what he said. And I'm grateful for it, because I wouldn't be here without both of them. My mom sacrifices a lot of time, too.
Ian reached some rare air, winning the state championship in the 100 freestyle as a junior for Booker T. Washington, an especially extraordinary accomplishment in a swimming-rich state like Florida.
Super proud moment for me as a coach, and I think for our program. The story, Florida high school, record book is guys that win those events.
That was my goal, really, is to get a first place medal at state. And when I did it, my coaches were like, oh my gosh, you did so good. And I was like, yeah, but there were some things on that race that I could have done better. It took me a good 10 minutes after, when I could collect myself, that, I did something actually pretty cool. I won 100 free at state. Not a lot of people can do that in the state of Florida.
But perhaps more remarkable is what he did at the 2025 Spring National Championship event in Orlando. Racing in the 100 breaststroke, not considered his strongest stroke, Ian finished second in the event with a time that broke the GPAC team record set way back in 1989 by Olympian Daniel Waters. All it took was a challenge from a teammate to provide the spark.
We were talking about it, and he goes, no way you go under 56 is what I think he said. And I was like, oh yeah, watch this. It definitely wasn't on my radar that I was gonna break it. I was just trying to drop time from a 56. I didn't know how much time I would actually drop.
Anytime that we, can break a 34-year-old record is pretty special. Like it came out of nowhere.
Is that how?
I don't know.
For Ian, his amazing progress has a lot to do with Coach Johnson. It's a relationship he realized would be pivotal a long time ago.
I said, can you please not leave? I think that was when I was 8. And he told me he wasn't going to leave me. He was going to be here till I see the program through. And lo and behold, he's still here. He's seen me have the ups and downs in this sport. He's seen me prevail at practice. He's seen me crash at practice. He's been there for me the entire time. And I'm grateful for him.
I think he understands his choices, and he understands what's demanded of him to get what he needs, and getting himself to the point of really fully accepting that and embracing that is something we can continue to work on.
It's all opened the door to a Division I college scholarship. Emerging opportunities include official visits to Ohio State and Louisville. But wherever he ends up, an even grander goal is ever present in Ian's mind.
I hope to make it on the Olympic team in the next 4 years. I think about it a lot, and that motivates me to the point where I haven't left swim yet. Because if I didn't think that I could get there, I wouldn't be here. Because why not strive to be one of the best in the sport?
We find Alia Davis on Alumni Avenue just starting to make a name for himself in the NFL. Injuries limited his first 2 seasons, but when the West Florida Tech grad finally got his chance last year, he produced a wow moment and plenty of promise. A defensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers, Pensacola's Alia Davis turned in one of the most remarkable plays in the NFL last season, not only deflecting but somehow also intercepting the pass of megastar quarterback Patrick Mahomes. A stunningly athletic effort against one of the league's marquee players. Even more amazing considering it came just 1 week after being activated off the injured list and in just his 5th NFL game since being drafted out of UCF in 2022. The wow highlight set the tone for a strong finish to the season. Finally being healthy enough for a significant role, Davis played in the final 13 games and recorded at least 1 tackle in 10 of them. At 6'2", 310 pounds, with uncommon agility for a guy that size, Davis drew raves from San Fran head coach Kyle Shanahan and 49er media members. First team All-State at West Florida Tech in 2016 and All-Conference in college at UCF, Davis seems primed to fully cash in on his immense potential. Alia Davis is definitely a guy to keep watching on Alumni Avenue. It's incredibly hard to make it to the NFL, let alone stick. But Pensacola's Fred Robbins played in the league for a remarkable 12 seasons. A consistent standout on the defensive line, Robbins reached the pinnacle of the sport, winning the Super Bowl with the New York Giants in 2008. He now gives back by mentoring young athletes and budding NFL players. We're thrilled to be going deep with Fred Robbins. Fred, thanks so much for coming in and joining us.
Man, thanks for having me.
All right, so we'll go back to the early days. You're known for football, but really growing up in Pensacola, baseball was your first love.
Yes.
How much did you think baseball was going to be your path?
Oh, man, growing up, I was a huge baseball fan. I thought that was going to be my sport I loved, and I started playing when I was, 5 or 6 years old. Played Little League all over through high school, but growing up, man, baseball was my first love.
All right, so football, you didn't play football until you got to high school. Your freshman year at Tate, you go out for football. What was it like when you first went out for football? It
was different. I always played, football like in the street with my buddies, but when I played with an organized, sport, it was kind of a little bit different. They had me playing offensive line, and then my 10th grade year, I didn't play at all. I didn't quite like it. Then I went back out again my junior year, and I started playing a little defensive line and tight end, which was a little bit more funner. And then my senior year, we had a new coach come in, Sam McCorkle. We had like a rough season, but I started to get like a lot of attention, playing football.
So what changed the junior and senior year? What changed? What kind of took off for you that football became okay? This was the thing for you.
I think I had a growth spurt. That 10th grade year. I grew a lot and gained some weight. And then my 11th grade year, I just pretty much had a better, more physical dominance. I started playing football. Things were a lot more fun for me playing. And I was getting like a lot of attention and doing great in both sports, football and baseball. And so football just kind of grew on me and kind of stuck.
All right, so you ended up getting a scholarship offer to Wake Forest. You were representing them with the hat today, ACC, and you make an immediate impact there. You started there as a freshman, ended up becoming all ACC by the end. So how did you really develop as a player in your time at Wake?
I think that first year when I was redshirt, it was a key year for me. It was hard because that was the first time where I didn't play. I didn't start, and you just kind of watch everybody play. But I took advantage of getting some coursework done and also just hitting the weight room and getting bigger, stronger, and faster. By the time I came out my spring football the following year, I was ready to start, and they put me in the starting rotation.
When did you realize, hey, I'm not just at college, I'm a really good college player, I got a future, I got a future. Was there a point where it really hit you, okay, I really got something here?
I think, my freshman year when I first started, because I led Wake Forest, and I was, tops in the ACC like tackle for losses, and so I started getting a lot of attention. I had a couple of friends of mine, teammates, who were seniors, and they were getting ready for the draft, and they were saying, wow, man, every time we go out to dinner with some teams, I was asking who's their number 90 for Wake Forest, So when I had my older teammates really just saying something that's kind of made me think I had a future in it.
Okay, so obviously you ended up getting drafted in 2000. Vikings draft you second round. A huge moment in anybody's life. How significant was it when you got drafted?
Oh man, it was awesome. Just you spend all that time. You think back on all the sprints and all the hard work that you put in through the years, and just to soak it in with with your family, and just the sacrifices they made to get me to and from practice every day, and all the fundraising and everything they had to do. Man, it's kind of like a moment for everybody to kind of look back of where you started to where you are now. And I think just hearing your name, getting that phone call from Dennis Green and telling me, hey, look, we got your flight ready tomorrow at 6 a.m. on the first thing out, and then it just when things just kind of took off.
All right, so the first year, you played some, but you were a backup the first year. So what was the adjustment like to the NFL?
It was almost like how I did when I first got to college. You kind of like you learn the lifestyle. Putting on the pads and practicing everything is kind of easy, but the lifestyle of it, what you got to get used to, and that's kind of what I did my rookie year.
All right, so second year, become a starter, and from there you basically started for the next 11 years, playing almost every game, which is an incredible run. So what was the key for you kind of becoming a good NFL player, a consistent NFL player, and someone that was really successful on that level?
Man, I just took time learning the game, just studying film, studying opponents who you're going to play against, and the main thing is just staying healthy. I think that's what enabled me to play 11 straight seasons, and then also just playing with some great talent, with some guys around you, and you learn from some of the older guys that you're kind of around.
All right, first 4 years with Minnesota, then you signed with the New York Giants, who were an up-and-coming team. So how did you feel about your role with a team that was really up-and-coming, had a lot of good defensive players, and they bring you in to be a big part of that? Yeah,
when I first met with the Giants, when I went to New York and visited with them, they told me from the jump, listen, hey, there's our expectations. So here's what we need, and here's what we need from you. As far as like my role, and kind of taking on that leadership role, something I really hadn't took on like my first 4 years with the Vikings. But now I'm coming to New York, where I'm like one of the kind of oldest guys. Even though it's my 5th year, I was kind of like one of the older guys on the defensive line, but they wanted me to take more of that leadership role and kind of mentor a lot of some guys younger than me. And so that was kind of different for me. But I just took on that role, understood the assignment, and just rolled with it.
Yeah, in 2007, you guys had an incredible season. You win the Super Bowl. You play the Patriots, who were undefeated in that game. You guys were big underdogs, and you pull off the stunning upset. When you think about that, what comes back to you about how remarkable that was and how that felt to win a Super Bowl and the way you guys did it?
Yeah, I think the main thing is like the beginning of that season, we had just got a new defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, and we played the Cowboys and the Packers the first 2 games, and they both put up like over 40 points on us. And so they're like, oh man, here we go, the Giants, here we go again. And the next 3rd game, we had to come back from behind, to beat the Redskins. And that kind of just set the tone for like who we were. We simplified our defense, and we went on like a 7-game win streak then. Went through some ups and downs, but we always had a strong team. And I think the last game of the season we played the Patriots, lost by 3, but we knew we could beat them. Then going on the Super Bowl run was just remarkable. We just played great ball. We were healthy, and we weren't playing selfish. We were just playing team ball, and that's what got us to the Super Bowl and ultimately winning.
When you won it, did it hit you in the moment? I'm a Super Bowl champion?
It did, man. You see all the confetti fall, you see your family and friends, and you celebrate with your teammates, and then you're just having fun the rest of the night. Then we had the parade in New York, which is unbelievable. It really didn't set in on me really until I really got back home So I'm like, wow, you know, man, I won the Super Bowl. And so then again, a couple months later, when we actually got our Super Bowl rings, we kind of relived the whole process again, all over again.
And then the next season, they voted you the defensive captain on a huge, star-studded defense. How significant was that for you?
That was very significant, you know, because really you don't know what people think of you, but to have your teammates vote you as captain, that's being significant. They're saying they see something in you, they like the leadership role that I was taking on, and to have your teammates vote you captain of New York. We had a lot of other guys they could have chose from, so it kind of made me just step my game up a little bit more where guys really count on you on and off the field.
You know, you're part of an incredible NFL legacy for the Pensacola area. I mean, there's double-digit guys in the NFL now from this area.
Right.
Back when you were playing, I think it was like 12, 13 at one point. So you had like Lawrence Tynes was on your team from Milton, guy from the area. You know, week to week you're playing against other guys in the Pensacola area all the time. Was that something that how remarkable was that to you? And was that something that you guys talked about, all the guys from this area in the NFL, and how much of a source of pride?
Man, it was definitely a source of pride, especially when some of your teammates see like, oh, you from Pensacola? Oh, I didn't know he was from Pensacola. And so when all the teammates, I remember they just saying, wow, y'all got all these guys from this area, from Pensacola, all in the NFL. It's kind of like poke your chest out a little bit, you know what I mean? But it was fun playing against those guys. You know, we always want to compete to win, but it's always great to see, you know, guys that, you know, you work out with and train with. I remember when I first played Josh Sinton. You know, he was playing with the Packers, a good friend of mine. We used to work out and train together, but the first time we actually played against each other, it was like a giggle session, us going up against each other, but it was fun, you know, but it was very competitive, but it's always great to see guys from from the hometown.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think the legacy is so strong that turned out year after year, and we're still doing it now?
We're like a small community with guys, know everybody, families kind of know everybody. They might not know in person, but they know of them. And I think that's what makes it even more greater when you see guys from Pensacola make it to play against. And we always root each other on. They always support. I mean, when I went to the Super Bowl, Derrick Brooks was one of the first guys to call me because we played Tampa. And he thanked me. He kind of told me, like, look, here's some of the things you need to do while you're at the Super Bowl so you're able to play better and get everything smoothed out.
All right, you finished your career with the Rams, who were in St. Louis at the time, 12 seasons, 186 games. When you look back at that, great longevity, great success, you know, what stands out to you most about what you accomplished?
Oh man, you know, I just think of all the hard work, you know, all the extra time I put in when I didn't have to, and I think that's what it takes now, especially even now, is what you do when you're not supposed to do anything. You know, just really take advantage of every situation. And I look at a lot of the guys I played with, and with and against in different careers. I was totally blessed to play 12 years, but I just look back on, you know, how I was just able to keep my body healthy, and I think that's. Moving forward, you know, that's what a lot of guys got to do, just do things to kind of take care of their bodies. All
right, since you retired, you've been giving back. Big thing you did, Mr. Robbins Neighborhood, which is trying to mentor youth in different ways. So talk a little bit about what the main message is.
My goal is kind of really, you know, try to help the other 98.5, 99% of guys who don't make it to the NFL, right? It's everybody's dreams to make it professional ranks, but, you know, sports is different. It's even harder now. So my goal is to help those 99% of guys come up with different career paths, different choices just in case sports don't work out. Try to show them other things that around sports they can develop, different jobs, different career paths that enables them to kind of live that sports competitive lifestyle they so far choose. And right now with the age of NIL and everything going on, it's even more serious and more important now for me to give back and help those guys.
So how rewarding when you see the eye-opening moments for some of these youth that, you know, they think, oh, I'm definitely going to make this, but when you show them a different path, a different way, you know, how rewarding is that?
It's very rewarding because, you know, you got to be honest. Not, you know, not just show them the numbers. Like, listen, here, you can be the best, but here's some of the best kids that never made it, you know, when they had everything lined up. And so I just, you know, just be honest with them, you know, tell them the truth. Listen, I'm going to help you in the way I can to get to the level, but just in case, just because I've made it, you know, doesn't necessarily mean everybody else is because it's so hard now, but I'm just going to show you alternate career paths that something you might look at in second nature.
Okay, another thing you're doing is Fred Robbins Performance. You work with up-and-coming NFL draft hopefuls, defensive linemen,
right.
You know, out at Exos at Andrews Institute. You've had a number of guys you work with get drafted over the years. What's the experience been like working with those guys over the last number of years?
It's been great, and actually it helped me make that transition from retired life back to, you know, normal life. It's just working with those guys, and to watch them on Sundays now, it's kind of, I see a piece of myself in them because I'm teaching them things that I know from a veteran standpoint. But it's been rewarding. I mean, every guy I train have a great relationship with, and we keep in touch and kind of keep tabs on what everybody's doing. But it's been very rewarding just to see them go out and still perform at a high level now.
So what are the main lessons when you teach? Obviously, you're teaching technique and things like that, but you're also teaching bigger picture. What are the main lessons you
Well, in the beginning, it was just teaching technique. You know what I mean? Teaching technique for guys and different things they might not know. But now, when sports has changed, now I'm teaching more about the lifestyle, more about the business side of the game, and they have a better understanding now when they go into it. Kind of, being able to help themselves navigate through the NFL careers a lot longer. But that's what it's going to take.
All right, so you have two sons right now, both in athletics in different ways. So, as a guy who played professional athletics, how are you approaching their development as they go out in the world and try to make it?
I think that's the fun part when you see your boys playing. I try not to be coached too much because I want to enjoy that dad moment where I can just sit back in the stands and just, clap and cheer. But it's kind of hard, But I try to give them both sides. I want them to have that see their dad watching them, not always, tell them what to do as a coach, but because I'm a firm believer in letting coaches coach. So, but when we're at home, sometimes I do give my little tips and hints of what they should do.
Awesome. Well, lucky them, right?
Yeah.
All right, Fred. Well, thanks so much for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
we appreciate all you do in the community.
Thanks again.
All right, that's a wrap on another edition of Sports Spotlight. But there are so many more sports stories to tell. Until next time, thanks for watching.